Senator Shaheen. Senator Curtis.
Thank you. Mr. Carl, I think I heard in your testimony something very similar to this, but core among U.S. interests at international organizations is the protection of U.S. sovereignty and our national security, and I'm sure that we agree on this. What I didn't hear, and what is important to me, high among these interests is the protection of our allies, namely Israel and Taiwan, both of which are consistently mistreated in these international organizations. And as Assistant Secretary for International Organizations, I view one of your core responsibilities to counter the systemic anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bias in international organizations. Israel rarely asks for direct military intervention from the United States, but it does ask for diplomatic support and helping. So in your podcast of October 24, you said the United States spends too much time and energy on Israel, often to the detriment of our own national interest. So share with me specifically what is in the U.S. interest that has been harmed by sustained American support of Israel.
Senator, thank you for that question. It's a good one. And I think in the context of this particular role, actually, we are Israel's closest ally. I mean, in that.
Yeah. So how is it
in that? So I think in the UN context, I wish the UN would stop being anti-Semitic all the time, and so therefore we could stop. There's a million other problems like the Rohingya,
hold that thought, because I kind of want to come back to that. But let me just clarify. Do you think it's all one directional? And what I mean by that is it's all U.S. going to help Israel? And do you recognize the intelligence, the military innovations and things like that come back to the United States?
No, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Senator Curtis. So I, as mentioned before, spent 10 years under one of the greatest friends of Israel that the U.S. diplomatic corps has ever had, in Secretary Shultz. Charlie Kirk was also probably second to no one in America in terms of his.
Let me just rein you in here, because that's not going in the direction of my answer. Let me ask this: do you view diplomatic support as important or critical, or does that fall in the too much time and energy?
Senator, I think thank you for that question. I think diplomatic support of Israel in the UN context is absolutely critical.
Are there other allies for whom you believe the United States spends too much time and energy?
Senator, it would depend, thank you for the question, on the situation. But in the UN context, I want to be very clear that we have to be by Israel's side because nobody else is going to be by Israel's side. And you see the effects of the systemic anti-Semitism that is rife throughout the UN system. It's one of the reasons that we've withdrawn from several major UN organizations.
Do you see how difficult it is for you when approached by these other countries and you hear that line from them for you to defend what you just said when you've made these other comments? How do you say to some of these other foreign nations diplomats when they echo that same thinking that you have echoed, that they're wrong?
I'm sorry, Senator, I want to make sure that I understand your question.
Well, okay, so let me give you a specific on that same podcast. Yeah. The host, and I understand this is the host, it's not you.
Yeah.
He criticized Jews for claiming special victim status because of the Holocaust. He said that the state of Israel is not a victim, but instead a perpetrator, and said, how long are you going to rest on the Holocaust based on how you were treating the Palestinians? Now, that was the host, but this was your response. Right, yeah. No, I think that's true. So given that,
yeah.
When asked by other diplomats who do come with these agendas that you referred to in your remarks, how do you push back on that when you didn't push back on that moderator?
Sure, Senator. First of all, thank you for the question. And I would have to review the podcasting question that you're mentioning. I do a lot of podcasts, and I'm not familiar with it.
I've given you your exact words.
But no, I'm sure that they're accurate. I'm sure that they're accurate.
Yeah,
I'm not questioning that.
Trust me, those diplomats also know your exact words. So let me ask you this question. Do you believe that it is remotely acceptable to compare the Holocaust to the war launched after October 7th?
Absolutely not, Senator.
Okay. Well, I'm out of time. We only give us 5 minutes. I think you can sense from my questions, my concerns. you have been nominated to some random position to a post where your views, for instance, to Iceland,
Right.
where you get a second chance on these issues. But you're the principal manager of the U.S. multilateral policy. And anti-Israel bias in international organizations is part of, and you know this, of a broader strategy to undermine the United States, our legitimacy. And so I don't know that I've been convinced that you understand the threat posed to the West in the narrative. And I regret that I'm out of time. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll yield.